So how much food do you use a day? How much cat food do you use a day?
About 15 cans, maybe. I counted one day. 15 cans. Right now I have 5 dogs for dinner. 4 of them mine, and the visitor, my friend's dog, Skipper. The problem about feeding the dogs is that they're all designer dogs, as I refer to them, purebreds. So therefore, they all come with their problems, their inherent problems like arthritis, hip dysplasia, tumours in the ears, bad hearts, bad teeth. So therefore, and I have a deaf and blind Cocker Spaniel, Mendrick, who's not lined up yet, who has an infection on his body and infection in his ears. And therefore the pills, it's easy to open a can of food and give them a can of food. And of course all day they have the dry food here. But it's distributing the pills before they get fed is the tough one. And of course I feed them all the good quality food with no byproducts so that their conditions don't get worse, you know. Apparently there's a lot to be said for not feeding junk food to dogs. Come on, Skip. This is Skipper, who has to get fed first. This is Zeke, and he gets a supplement for his arthritis and his stiffness. A dash of cod liver oil for his arthritis. And he gets his arthritis pill. Now, Zeke. Good boy. Now, he's not too bad with his pills now. Bamboo. Bamboo Rosenthal Lillis Diver really gets no pills. This creature. She'll be 15 at Christmas. In 1 more month. Magic. This dog here. Magic is deaf and blind. I got him from the pound on the 22nd of April this year. And he has, because again he's another designer dog, he has problems with his skin, his ears, and he is, as well as ear infections, he's deaf and he's also completely blind. But he does manage to find the food. And then after, when I'm finished feeding all these guys, he has to get a bath. He has to get a bath every second day for his skin infection. Come on, boy, come on, please eat your pills. You see, he won't eat his dinner, so I try to get him to eat even a morsel of food so that I can get his pills into him. But sometimes they'll eat cat food when they won't eat dog food. So I now extract the pills again from the dog food. And try and give it to him in a little bit of cat food. Yeah, thank God. Good, the cat food's working. Let's hope the pills got down it. Somehow everybody else's food is far more palatable than their own. Right, Bamboo? Yeah. Everybody else's food is nicer. So much for the good quality food. Nobody's eating. Zeke, you're a good boy. Good boy. When they come here, first of all, they wolf down any kind of food you give them. Really? And after a couple of weeks, they realise that they're going to get it, so there's no rush. And perhaps if they don't like it, maybe it will be changed and they'll get a different flavour. So, his owner, who was a young man of 29 or so, committed suicide in the city. And Zeke lay by his side for a week until the police knocked down the wall and got into the apartment. And he hadn't eaten or peed or food in the week. So I was the lucky one that got him. Right, Quickie Vicky. And he has arthritis and he has to get acupuncture for his arthritis.
Has he had the acupuncture already?
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah, he was had a great walk on the beach yesterday. A bit stiff now from lying down, but he had a great walk on the beach, and a few weeks ago he couldn't get up at all or walk at all. Skipper is my friend's dog. My friend stayed here for a few months with me during the summer, and now he's away for a few days, so Skipper is staying with me. And Skipper used to chase cats when he came here, first of all. But there's one rule in this house, and that is that everybody loves everybody. So Skipper doesn't chase cats anymore. New Bunny was left behind plain and fancy in a milk crate a few years ago. And when I went into plain and fancy for a cup of coffee, they asked me to take one more rabbit. And that chicken is Maggie May. Maggie May was out with all the other chickens, but she got mites or something and lost her feathers, so we took her in to resuscitate her, and now she's cock of the walk in here and won't go out. Last year, somebody called me and asked me would I take a pregnant cat one day from the city that they had absolutely no room for. So I said yes. So I took City Kitty, and we expected her to have kittens any day, but thank God they made a mistake and City Kitty never had a kitten. So today they called me and said, "Hi, remember us? We brought you a cat." And I said, "Yes." They said, "Okay, 2 hours we'll be there with some food." So they arrived with 12 cases of cat food in numerous bags. So that was delightful.
How often does that happen?
That, very rarely. Very rarely. But a couple of times a week people come by with bits and pieces of food, which everything is...
But the rest of it you supply yourself?
Oh yeah, I buy it. I go to the pet store that sells all the natural food. I go there at least once a week or definitely every 2 weeks and spend my own money on pet food, yeah.
Pat, what drives you to do such so difficult a task? It's difficult for yourself, expensive. Why do you do it?
It's not that difficult. I find more difficulty if I climb a mountain every day. It's rewarding, and I don't have the heart to see all these creatures out in the wild dying of starvation, being run over, and having more kittens and breeding, and half of them dying of starvation and the other half being run over and freezing to death in the winter. I can't see that. So I have no problem taking them in, taming them, and getting them homes. But the big problem is getting them homes. And of course there are thousands upon thousands of stray cats and feral cats in East Hampton. ARF is full. They are absolutely full to the door. They have numerous cats and kittens on their waiting list. I am kind of an auxiliary, if you like, to ARF. I don't have a problem scooping the poop, feeding them, looking after them, keeping them warm. But I really fall down on the fact of getting them homes. That's my big problem. I have too many here at the moment that need homes, that are ready for homes, that there's nobody calling.
Do you have an independent source of income that allows you to do this, or you have to earn your dollars?
Oh, no independent source, but I do buy a lotto ticket in the hopes. No, I have a small house cleaning business, so basically all my income goes to the animals.
All of it from the small house cleaning business?
Right.
I see. Are the people you work for, are they aware? Do they help out? Do any of the...
Well, some of them have adopted cats from me in the past. In fact, anybody that ever needed a cat, they have adopted them from me. And yeah, they help out in lots of ways, because they will give me clothes that don't fit them, which means I don't have to go to the store and, clothes not that don't fit them, but they don't want anymore. They'll pass those on to me. They'll pass pet carriers, litter pans, they'll pass towels. They'll give me anything they don't need as a throwout, and most of the stuff is in excellent condition. So therefore that saves me paying money for clothes in a store or other bits and pieces of furniture they don't need and all the rest of it.
How do you keep the cat population down?
Oh, I believe once I get them, if they're adult enough to be spayed or neutered, they go straight to the vet. And they're spayed and neutered before they arrive at my house. If they're young, like these little kittens came, they're not spayed or neutered yet. But very, very shortly they'll be old enough and they'll go. If somebody adopts them before they're spayed and neutered, they promise me that they will have them spayed and neutered. I will call on them to make sure that that is done. Hi, this is Mama Cat. Mama Cat was in the dump with her babies, and she's a feral cat. But I can still touch her. And rub her. I can still touch her and rub her. And I got these cages were donated to me by a lady who used to look after people's cats, Hi, kitty pies. And they're a tremendous help to have any kind of a cage to house them in, because you know when they come, you don't always know they're coming. They don't book in advance. So someday somebody just gets a cat or a kitten or hears about some, you know, like these were in the dump and they were in, so thanks be to goodness, the people that work in the East Hampton Town Recycling and Disposal Centre, they're really good, and they keep a friend of mine, Marion, and I informed about any cats there. So Marion traps them and we spay and neuter them. And if they're friendly or whatever, not really, even if they're friendly, we try and keep a lot of them, tame them and get them homes. But these little guys, all 5 of them about a month ago, they were so little, they were just born. And they were in the plastics area. Come over here to me, you. They were in the plastics area. Oops, mind your foot. Cuddles and kisses. That's what little putty cats are for, right, Dambo? Cuddling and kissing. And they were in jeopardy of being squished when the bulldozers went in and compressed the plastics, the bottles, 1 and 2 bottles. So luckily the people at the dump obliged us and they stopped the movement for a few hours while we went in, and we trapped the mama cat, and she is beautiful, and she's so thankful that we rescued her and her little kittens. And we got all the kittens, 5 babies and the mama. And they're very happy and warm and cosy and well fed here. And when I clean their cages every day, I let them out for a little bit. Here comes little Ralphie now. He loves to run outside, as they all do, you know. And yeah. Now this chicken is one of the city chickens. She was found walking the streets of Queens, so I call her a city chicken.
Tell us how you got her. Tell us about
A
it.
friend of mine, who's a Norwegian lady, rescues animals in the city. And I guess somebody told her about them. So she picked them up, and another friend of mine, Valerie, who lives in Westchester, was coming out for the weekend, so they met at a car park in Queens and handed over these 2 girls. Sometimes my city girls are silly. And this poor one has only 1 eye, because in the factory system they're all pinned together and they get, you know, pecked on and everything. Oopsie daisy. So these 2 girls came from the city. They're my Queen's girls. And
Well, how did they happen to be walking the streets?
they were very disheveled looking when they came and featherless. And people thought that they might be about to be used in some religious cult for torture or something. I have no idea. Thank God I'm not in touch with religious cults that torture animals. But they were disheveled and featherless and in a very bad state when they arrived about a year ago. But now they're country girls. This is little Alfie. He's a little bantam cock.
Well, tell us again.
Well, somebody called me and asked me did I want 3 chickens. And I said no. And they said, well, if you don't take them, they go to the pot. Now, that usually doesn't work with me. I say, okay, put them in the pot. Because people call me every day and say, well, if you don't take 10 cats, I'm going to kill them. I say, fine, you kill them. Because that doesn't work with me. So this is little Alfie. And he has been known to swallow my earring. You have been known to swallow my earring, haven't you?
How do you capture the earring if he's swallowed?
Up here he was.
Well,
and he picked the...
Do you get it back? Or does
No, he actually swallowed it. Usually I catch it on its way down.
Oh.
But finally I gave up with my absolutely priceless pearls. Just as well I can't afford priceless pearls. So what he swallowed was no big loss, right? Well, the thing about the poor misfortunate Easter bunny is that people buy them for $15 or so at Easter time for their kids. And they're really not toys. They're not cuddly toys. And then very shortly thereafter, probably at the latest in July, people bring them and they release them in a park or in a field, and that's the end of the bunny. And I am lucky enough to have found some, and they're lucky enough to have found here, because I have 8 rabbits at the moment, all that were abandoned. Little Ralphie that you just saw was found on Red Dirt Road about 2 years ago. And the man who found him, his name was Ralph, so I called him Little Ralphie. But that poor little thing, he would have died. He would have been eaten by a fox or raccoon or dog or something like that, and he would never have survived in the wilderness. These are all domestic rabbits. But I have a fully fenced in yard here for them. This fence is 6 foot tall, supposedly anyway, it's probably 5'8". There's some wire attached to the bottom and buried inside. There's also wire attached to the bottom and buried outside. so that nothing can dig in or nothing can dig out. And therefore it's very safe to let the rabbits run out here. So I let them run out during the day for maybe a half an hour, 2 hours or 4 hours, and so that everybody gets a turn to get out and run in the wilderness and dig holes and do their own thing. But at night, every rabbit is in at dusk. They're all in their little hutches and cages indoor, and they have heat and warmth and food and things to chew and all the rest of it. So that's it. But keeping 8 rabbits is not easy. I used to have 12, but I had a lot of old ones. I think 4 passed away this summer, 4 of the originals of the species. And this is the chicken house. The door doesn't open much wider, but I bought this old trailer. It's on wheels. I had it insulated so that they don't get cold in the winter time. I put up perches for them. Probably it's a bit dark in here. Put up perches and nesting boxes behind the door, but it's probably too dark to get a shot at that. And I put straw on the floor and straw up here, which they knock off. And they come in here and sleep cozy every night.
How about in the cold winter nights?
In the cold winter nights, I stack it up with straw, floor, and under their bedding. And the fact that it's insulated, it's quite warm. But if I don't put my chickens in 365 nights a year at dusk, then a fox could come or some predator and eat them. So the thing about having chickens is it's 365-day-a-year job. Charlie Cat's the first stray cat that found me. He found me when I lived in Springs, so I fed him for a couple of years, and then when I moved here, he moved with me. And that's it, he's at home ever since. So he likes to spend a lot of his time out and a lot of time across at the neighbour's house. I guess there's too many others coming in every day. He says you never know who she brings home. One time I was king of the walk here, but now she brings new things home every day. It's just terrible.
Oops. Okay, let me get him first.
Yeah. Helen, I met through rescuing wildlife. When I pick up injured wildlife, I bring them to Helen. And she in turn obviously returns the compliment, because when she finds domestic animals that have been abandoned, she brings them to me. And this is one of her little treasures. This is little Valentine that she found about 2 or 3 years ago in a car park. And she captured him and brought him to me. So he's been here ever since and very healthy.
But this is not a wild rabbit. He's the color of a wild rabbit, but he's a domestic rabbit. And people have the misconception that it's okay to just let them go. When they get tired of them, they think they can survive out in the wild, and they absolutely cannot. This one was eking out a living in behind some cars. He was kind of hard to catch because he was underneath all these cars, but he would have been easy prey for any kind of dog or hungry fox or anything that came along. They don't have the savvy that the wild bunnies have to survive in the wild. They're built differently. Their senses aren't as keen, and they're made to be pets. They're not wild animals. So we were glad that we were able to get him in and get him safe. And he's been neutered, and he's nice and calm now. He was a real rambunctious guy when we first got him. And he was thin, and he was just a sitting duck, so to speak, for any hungry predator. So we're glad we were able to save him.
What's going to happen to him now?
Well, he's for adoption.
Would we give you away, Valentine? Only to special people. We need lots of special people to adopt special animals like little Valentine. Valentine got fur balls last year, and I had to give him medicine every 2 hours, and I had to give him fluids every 2 hours, and I was all worried. He nearly died, but then he recovered. So if we got somebody caring that could watch him and mind him and love him and cuddle him, give him a good home, we might let you go, right? It's feeding time. Came from Amagansett. And they're feral kittens as well. But they're almost ready for good homes now too. Sorry, kids. Sorry. Come on. Grubs up. They like their food. That's much better than running in a trailer park looking for a little bit of grub from the garbage. Hi, babies. Hi, babies. Grubs up. Grubs up. Grubbies up. Grubbies up. Yes. Come on. Good babies. That we salvaged from the recycling centre. Yes, we did, so you guys could have a nice bowl. The cages are a little small, you see. Even though this is a big cage, but for 3 big cats, cramped living quarters. And then we have this poor baby. This baby came from the dump, and we think she might have a sore leg. She's a feral cat, and she's very sad. Come on, baby. And she sisses and spits. But I don't put my hand in without a glove. Here, baby. But she's very sad. But once we're sure she has been spayed, and once we're sure she's perfectly healthy, we'll probably put her back at the dump and establish a feral cat shelter there and feed them every day, you know. It was my original feral cat. Don't come too close. Come here. It's all right. This guy was the first feral cat I ever trapped. And he was an adult, and his name is Davy, and he is he's a bit shy now with the camera, but he is the best cat anyone could ever have. But you're shy, Dave? Isn't he beautiful? Now, these are for these 3 babies here. This is City Kitty, and City Kitty was what we thought to be a very, very, very pregnant cat outside Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in the city. Yeah, and she was a feral cat, but she came a few months ago, and now she's almost ready for a home of her own. She just did. She's a good girl. Here. Yes. When she came, she was spitty and hissy and everything, but with lots and loves and cuddles and rubs and kisses, she's great. Okay? And here comes Dottie. This is Dottie. Dottie was in a trailer park up the island, and she was trying to get into shelter in the trailers, so they trapped her and brought her to be killed at the vets. So I got her. Dottie is so ready for a home. Yes, she's such a pet. She is such a pet. Aren't you, Dottie? You should Indians. They're a little bit taken aback because it's, 2 days after Thanksgiving? So they have dined on turkey for the last 2 or 3 days. They're a bit bored with the canned food now. It's like, what? This is the best you can come up with now? Okay. And this is Missy. Missy was a feral cat for 5 years outside a house in Amagansett. And when the people moved, they trapped her so that she could come to a home. So she came here. And she's really tame now. Here, Missy. Missy doesn't really like wet food. Come over here. Listen, I can kiss her.
That's good.
That's our Missy. That's our Missy. Pat Lillis is Missy, she good girl.
What's going to happen to Mitzi?
Missy can live here for the rest of her natural life.
Why? No, I mean, why can't she be adopted?
You see, the people who trapped her, they love her particularly, and they're very, very happy that she's here. And they're very nervous about me giving her away to a home in case the people maybe let her out and lose her.
I see.
Which has happened recently. I gave away 2 feral cats that were supposed to be indoor cats, and people lost one within 24 hours. So the people who care for Missy and love Missy, they come to see her often, and they are very, very nervous that if I gave Missy away, she may get lost.
Does
They
Missy,
even bought her her own cage.
does Missy get out during the day?
She gets out at night. She gets out of her cage at night, and she can run around here.
I see.
When it's very safe, when we have all the doors locked and nobody else comes in, you know.
I see the dogs and the cats get along very well, don't they?
Yes, because Bamboo is waiting for the cat food. And if I were to walk away, Bamboo would be in and she'd eat the cat food. And in Dottie's cage, she puts her paw in and she scoops out. Don't you put your paw in and you scoop out the cat food? And Dottie is too nice. Yes, Dottie should slap you, but Dottie is too nice. And all the putty cats are too nice because they don't slap you. Yet when you go rooting for their food. Bamboo will be 15 at Christmas, this girl. Turn around. This girl will be 15 at Christmas. And I get all the dogs that nobody else will adopt because nobody wants an old dog.
Because old dogs are so silly. They just lie and sleep and they're so good. And you don't have to jog on the beach with them. You don't have to jog on the beach with a 15-year-old dog. No, you don't. Okay, I think Ken Woody was left behind because he was a terrible cat. But then my friends persuaded me to keep him permanently. Yes. So looking at Hootie tells people that yes, you can tame a feral cat. And two of my best, Hootie and Davy, are just treasures. So we're glad they were left behind. We're so glad you were left behind. Yes. Okay. Well, this is Lucy, and this is Lulu. And Lucy lost all her feathers out the back. I think she got mites too. So we had to dust her and bring her in and get her well again. And now, of course, she thinks she's a kitchen chicken or a front yard chicken, not a backyard chicken. So she goes out in the front yard every day. And poor old Lulu has arthritis in her leg. Wait a minute. Would you like some? No, she loves her lettuce. Here. Do you love your lettuce? Would you prefer if I got a scissors and chopped it up for you? Is that good? Let's see if that's good. That's great tag. Yeah. IGA lettuce.
Hey, Pat, which is your favorite animal?
I don't have a favorite animal. No, I didn't say it wasn't you. I just said I don't have a favorite animal. You mean a favorite species or a favorite animal of whom I have here?
A favorite species or a favorite that you have here?
No, I don't have any. I give more attention to the old, the sick and the infirm than I do the healthy ones because I reckon they'll be around longer and their day will come. But no, I don't have a favorite. I love all animals, even other people's animals, which I think people find funny. I feed people's dogs and cats, you know, I go off into their houses and I love their animals just as much as I love my Lulu, right?
If you were going to say something to the audience about animals, what would you say? What would you want people to?
Oh, just please, please, please adopt an animal or two or three. Just save them from the homelessness. It's so sad to see these creatures out dying of starvation and cold. It's just terrible. And stop the breeding, and just stop the breeding of every description. There are millions of animals killed, electrocuted, euthanized in one way or another every year in this country, and it's absolutely horrendous. And if you need a designer animal, if you think you have to have a particular breed, there are breed rescues that rescue every designer animal there is. And just don't encourage the breeders by buying them. And of course, first of all, come to me to adopt. I need help with adoption and I need volunteers to help me with the animals I have. And,
Would you want to give us your name and your phone number?
Well, my name is Pat Lillis and my number is 324-3822. And please call to adopt, not to ask me to take in your 10 animals that you no longer want because you're moving.
Do you want to give your phone number again, Pat?
324-3822.
Okay, great.
The great things. Come here. Oops. Come here. Come here. I have to cut all these. Cut. What we'll have to do is I'll have to get another bit of cat food to attract